To understand Tantric meditation, you need to understand the concept of the Ishta Deva, or the chosen deity. Now, put aside any skepticism about the reality of deities and all that. In a really fundamental sense, it doesn't matter. The question of what is real or what is not real is relative, and that's a different topic. We'll get into that. But the idea is that the object upon which you meditate is appealing. And for gay identified persons, an appealing object, the most appealing object, is typically some kind of attractive male figure. Now, you may have heard that within the Hindu pantheon there were over 3 million or 300 million gods and goddesses. I don't know if anyone's actually ever counted them. I'm not sure how you would go about doing that if you wanted to do that. But I think the point of that fantastic figure is that there are endless ways of conceptualizing the ideal figure, the chosen one, on whom you will choose to focus your attention or allow your attention to rest during meditation. So, in general, there are two kinds of meditation, and I'm speaking kind of globally here, whether it's, no matter what tradition it is. There are meditations that involve directing attention toward an object that might be considered kind of concentration types of meditation. And then there are the Vipassana insight types of meditation where there's no attempt to concentrate attention at all, that attention is allowed to float freely, but there's a watching, a constant watching of sensations and thoughts and so on. And in Tantra, both of these types of meditation may be done, but the principal type for most tantric processes is the visualization of a divine form. Now, so one of the first tasks of a tantric devotee is determining what that form is going to be. The classic archetypal forms are Shiva and Krishna, or the incarnations of God, such as Rama and Ramakrishna. So, whatever form appeals to you, that becomes your principal chosen form. And the guru can help with this. We'll talk about gurus later, but the guru can help in selecting an ishta. Very often the guru simply gives you an ishta. And why that can work is because whatever ishta you're given, whatever archetypal deity that you're given, you can conceptualize that deity fairly freely, because the divine being, let's call it our higher self, is extremely malleable and amenable to our wishes, and will appear to us in the most appealing form that we can imagine. And as long as we're doing this very consciously, it's perfectly fine to visualize our ishta, even historical ishtas such as Ramakrishna, of whom we have photographs from the 19th century, in ways that are more appealing to your mind if his photo as it is doesn't appeal. But You might also find that in time, no matter what form you take up, the more you meditate upon it, the more appealing it becomes. And that's a natural process. It's like people, in the sense, the more time you spend with them, as long as they're not terrible, then you're probably going to come to like them, if not actually love them. And that's true of the Ishta as well. So there's visualization of the Ishta, and you can do that very simply, or you can do it very elaborately. But the simple form would be to see that deity seated or standing within what's called the heart lotus. Now, some of you may know something about, think you know something about the chakras and all of that stuff. The heart lotus is not the anahata chakra, the so-called heart chakra. The heart lotus, or the Hridaya Kamala, is just below that. It's more like in the center of your body, right about the tip of the breastbone. And it's conceived of as 12 petaled with, 8 petals with of a golden color. Again, this is kind of the detailed version, and then the deity is seen seated or standing on the lotus. If you've seen lotus flowers, or you haven't seen a lotus flower, more at the point, you probably should Google it, because what makes excuse me, lotus flowers particularly suitable for seating deities is inside there's a little pad where you can stand or sit if you're that size. So that's where you sit or seat the deity. So the deity is seen as luminous, as conscious, and as full of grace, ready to bestow enlightenment and all your desires. In fact, as the embodiment of all your desires, that in knowing him or her, that everything is known, everything is had, everything worth having is attained. And it's, although we're visualizing him or her as, let's say, the deity as living and conscious, it's not a good idea to have him or her doing anything like waving or dancing or moving about at all. He should be more or less just sitting calmly and looking at you with eyes full of love and grace. So that's, in addition to the visualization, then there would be a mantra, and the mantra would be, in part, a name of the deity, and usually there are also what are called bija mantras added on to the mantra, and one or more bija mantras, the most common one being Om, although not all mantras have that Om in it. Om is one bija. And when I say bija, which means a seed mantra, it's a mantra that, or a word that doesn't have a dictionary definition. It's not a word in that sense, but it has significance. It's a sound that has significance, that in Tantra is thought to embody usually some subtle aspect of the deity. The gross aspect, that is, the form of the deity, is embodied in the name of the deity, but the subtler aspects, the subtle body, the causal body of the deity, are said to be embodied in the bija mantras. So in Tantra, you're likely to have, almost certainly to have, ought to have bija mantras along with the name of the deity. Again, the guru is the one who determines what they are, and when you get them, and how, and so on, in a process called initiation. And that's a topic for another day.